When you know how to keep your people out of a state of fight or flight or freeze, you're going to be able to build a culture of innovation and growth.
It is my pleasure to introduce Britt Frank. Britt is a licensed psychotherapist, speaker, and author of the new book, The Science of Stuck. Britt's work focuses on demystifying myths that keep us stressed, overwhelmed, and burnt out.
Business problems are people problems. There is no human with a brain walking around on this planet that does not know what it's like to get stuck with something. Maybe you feel stuck with trying to motivate your employees. Maybe you feel stuck with making decisions. Or maybe there are a few habits that you just can't seem to break.
By a show of hands, how many of you have clients, colleagues, customers, coworkers, or in any way work with someone who is struggling? Everyone's hand should be up. Look around the room. This is not a small problem, and it is not an outlier problem. This is the new norm.
I would venture to guess that a good 90% of the problems that your company faces come from not knowing how to maximize communication using information about the nervous system.
Was anyone taught, hey, your central nervous system informs your mental health and your mood, and here's how it works? It's not taught, which is wild. It's also a source of why we're struggling. It's really hard to affect meaningful change if we do not know how these brains and these bodies work. So if you hear yourself saying, I'm struggling with motivation, what that actually means is your brain is currently perceiving a threat. Now the next question is, well, why is my brain doing this? Clearly I'm safe, logically I'm safe. But again, remember that logic has nothing to do with this equation.
The biggest myth of motivation is that motivation is purely a mindset issue. Just think positive. Just think it and do it and be it. There's a reason why none of that stuff works. Using science-backed tools and practical, tactical, actionable strategies, I'll teach you the 3 steps to unstuck. Step 1, never start with why. When it comes to business development, you always want to start with why. When it comes to getting your people unstuck and to getting yourself up and rolling, you never want to start with why. Instead of asking why questions, I'll teach you how to ask what questions. What are my resources? What are the people, places, things available to me, things I can do, available to me right now in this moment that might be able to help? Step 3, pick one of those things and go. And then you listen for feedback, adjust accordingly, and repeat. In order to get from stuck to go, you need to be able to harness the power of the micro yes.
Your nervous system is wired for shifting like a car. You have a gas pedal, you have a brake pedal, and you have an emergency brake.
A micro yes is smaller than a small step, and it's smaller even than a baby step. A micro yes is the smallest possible thing that your system can say yes to. The best part about my process is there's no therapizing required. You do not need to become a therapist at work.
Discourage trauma dumping at work. This is a new thing where people went from not talking about mental health to talking all the time about mental health, and then suddenly at work, everyone is in their feelings.
It is so empowering to know you're not broken, know you're not lazy, and you're certainly not crazy. There's no such thing as a crazy person. Everything you're experiencing makes sense in context. I want your team to know what I know. With just a little bit of information about your brain, it's amazing what can change. Leaders want their companies to be innovative and creative and growth-oriented. But you cannot create or innovate when your brain is locked down in the state of freezy stuckness. In order to